No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
We actually filmed a pilot for a reality show.
You did not.
Yeah, we were approached out here probably April of this year, and we got to talk with the producer. He just loved our vibe and our dynamic because it's unique. We have a very unique dynamic inside and outside of work. So yeah, we filmed a pilot for a reality show that would be obviously real estate based, but also on our lives, because anyone we meet says we should have a reality show. So fingers crossed, nothing's happened yet. They're pitching it to the networks right now, but you never know. We may end up on Netflix.
Selling Paradise. That's what it's called, Selling Paradise. That was what it was pitched as. So it's about selling like high-end real estate in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley.
That's a phenomenal idea.
I mean,
they don't have it They don't have it yet. So hopefully they just love us enough to pick it up. But
yeah.
You know, you're going to need on that show.
Yeah.
You'll be lone guy. Like everybody's in shape. I'm the guy that's like, hey guys, you want some donuts? Like, and then you cut to you guys. You're like, Eric's always trying to bring donuts in the office because he's a lender, and lenders are kind of douchey. How long do you spend with somebody when they come out here? What are the things that you do that enable the client from out of state to be able to feel like they understand what's going on here, but maybe they don't travel, or what does that look like now?
Well, I think it depends on the client and expectations, timelines, but as soon as we get any kind of lead or we have anyone interested that is out of state, the first thing we do is hop on a call, and we do a 3-way call. If we're not together, then we do it. And, it's just to have a conversation. It's really just about understanding, like, what are they looking for? I always like to say they need to do their own research. We can, you can't really direct people on where they should be living, or, like they need to kind of like come, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to like give, we can give.
No, but what I mean is that if they're like, hey, my kid's at this age and I like these things and I want to be close to this area. Like there's some area there where it's like, they don't know Arizona at all.
Yeah.
They're counting on you, not just to help make sure they get a good deal on the house and all that, but to sort of meet what it is that they're asking for without them necessarily being here to feel what that's like. My question is really more about, how do you do that? That's actually a lot harder than it seems.
It is. And I think ideally we ask them to come out for a weekend. If there's any way that they're able to get out here, we will chauffeur them around. We will do, even if it's a couple days during the week, whatever works in their schedule. We always urge for them to get out here themselves and take a drive around. We'll drive them around and show them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We've had clients that never stepped foot in Arizona and bought out here with us. Never.
But then we've had other clients that were literally coming in, weren't looking to buy for a year. And we literally set up a 2-day tour for them. I printed out itinerary. I highlighted the areas we were going to visit, the different demographic things going on. I printed out the homes that we were going to see. So they had something to go home with, to be like, okay, so they could mull it over. It ended up in that 2 days, they found a house and literally fell in love with the house. They weren't even thinking of buying. And we landed them the house of their dreams. And it wasn't even meant to happen. But I mean, we treat it all like, we take the time. And when people are like, oh, well, my budget's only this, like, do you mind? They think we care. Like, I don't know where they get this impression that like a lower budget means that we're not going to spend as much effort and time with them. That's silly to me. I don't know if they've had experiences with other realtors that they're kind of like shunned or put at the bottom of the barrel because they're not spending $600. Maybe they're only spending, it has to be under 4 or in the 3s, or it's a condo. Like we take the same amount of time and effort with every single client, no matter what, no matter budget, no matter what area. And we make them feel like they can trust us and feel safe with putting their trust that we are going to direct them and, find them the perfect home. And we literally do every time. And I mean, we do. I will say it. And like, I mean, that's a bold statement to say but I mean, every single time we end up finding the perfect home and getting them what they want. So it's people, we work off ethically, we work off of obviously referrals. That's what we work off of. But I mean, we work ethically where we do what's best for the client, and it never has anything. We will do whatever it takes to make them happy. I think that's why we got into this industry. So agree.
Is there advantages to working with your identical twin?
I mean, I almost feel like it's unparalleled advantages to any other team because number one, we've worked together our entire lives, regardless of what industry or state we've been in. We've maneuvered through business together our whole lives. But more importantly, we joke we're like a yin yang, like the perfect one person. Like her strengths are my weaknesses and vice versa. And we literally don't have to work out kinks of who does what and who handles what. It's just like a natural given with us. That it's almost, it removes so many issues I would see with other teams, like roles and personalities. It's like we understand each other better than anyone. I mean, it's obvious.
Since the womb.
Yeah. But now we're talking 39 years of kind of perfecting that we are able to, like, it's perfection in our business because she handles the back end, I handle the front end. Like we just know our roles so well and we've perfected them also that it's been hands down, probably it's one of the best parts of our business, especially that we can give to our clients because they see that it's like not only two full-time realtors, they see our dynamic and they know that we, like, I think that's one thing everyone always says, like, oh, we know you got us, like no matter what it is on the front end, on the back end and everything in between. So that dynamic between us is really, I'd be hard pressed to find another team here that
even a husband and wife team, like that's different too. Like being like we're literally one person. It's like the perfect, we're two halves of the whole. And like, you're not going to get this dynamic from anyone else and for no additional cost.
And you've obviously done a lot of stuff together. You've done a lot of things. How does doing real estate as a team compare to some of the other things you've done as a team?
I mean, I think we finally come into like, it takes you a while, I think, to find what really you're meant to be doing on this earth while you're here. And we finally found it. I feel like we hit our niche, we hit our stride. We've leveraged having our own business together. We always wanted to do our own thing, but like we get to use all of the tools that we've developed in business, along with helping people, along with beautiful homes, along with, you know, being able to be in front of people and meet new people all the time. It's like we're doing, I think, what we're meant to do. Agree.
You know, that's actually an incredibly great point that I think is easily overlooked. And thanks for being open about it. This is for anybody that's watching that they're struggling. They're maybe in a position where they don't think they're very good or whatever. Like you're 1,000% right. Sometimes it takes a minute to find your thing. And when you find it, it just feels like, oh, you're like really good at it. And you really like, you have a horsepower to go through the tough stuff. And that's definitely how I felt with mortgage. And I didn't find mortgage till I was in my 30s. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was okay, but I kind of, you know, and then it's a weird thing to be passionate about, like, hey, home loans, like, but you find it and you're just like, I guess this is my thing. Somebody's gotta like it. So I really love what you're saying. And I think that's true of anybody. And it can be motivational and empowering for anybody that feels like they're struggling or they're not in a space where they're really happy or they feel like they're in the zone. Like keep looking at it. Maybe it's entrepreneurship, maybe it's real estate, but you'll find it. Eventually you'll find it if you keep looking long enough.
Agree. And I think that was the biggest lesson. We're in our late 30s now, on the brink of 40, but we had no fear. I think fear holds a lot of people back and we are pretty much fearless. We moved out here with no family. We left everything we knew to start over. And we've learned that you cannot let fear stop you from at least trying something. And if it's not your thing, the next thing you try, then you learn something from it. So I do feel like you have to take chances and take risks, but also believe in yourself and stay consistent. And it's amazing. And I agree with you. You'll know when you're on path doing your purpose.
Well,
you know,
you won't feel like there's any resistance. You know, there's nothing worse than, we call it the Sunday night. We used to have the Sunday blues when you work that 9 to 5 and it's Sunday night and you're hating life and you're like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow.
Great
like
point.
You're in a moody. And then you're like, think about it. How many literal days do you have on this planet? And what are you spending them doing? I understand we all need to make a living. We all need to pay for things. But if you're literally waking up and not enjoying your life, then I say to everyone out there, like, you need to like reevaluate what you're doing with your time here and start doing the things that you love. And then the universe will start rewarding you. When you're on the right path, you'll start getting rewarded and it'll feel easy. When you feel that resistance and the miserable or unhappy, anxiety, all of those things, that means you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. And it's hard for people to really look at themselves and be like, I need to make a change, because it's so much easier to just do, or even the high paying jobs that you're making a lot of money, but you hate your life. Like, money never drove us. Like, no, it was never a driving factor in us making a decision to go into real estate or making any of the decisions we've made, because it would have been way easier to just stay at home, work for our dad, take over the business and do what we were doing, but we felt unfulfilled. So, we're big on that. We're really big into like spirituality. We're big into finding your purpose on this earth and planet, and spending your days really giving back to people, and also just finding what makes you feel good about yourself. And it can be leveraged into a career. I mean, we're living proof of that, but it's definitely.
Yeah, it's not like the thing you're doing that you love, that you're meant to do, isn't hard work, and you don't have bad days. That's not true either, right? And you have bad days and good days, and it's really difficult and it seems impossible, but there's just something, you get a little extra empowerment when you're doing something that you feel like.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
for
Well,
me
it's
in
totally.
real estate, and go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're the star of the show.
Okay. No, that was a good point though, is that the irony is we work more now than we ever have. But it doesn't feel like work, like weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, it doesn't matter. Days don't matter to us anymore. But when you enjoy what you're doing, then it doesn't matter if it goes into the Super Bowl, or, I mean, I can list holidays where you're kind of like, oh, gotta go, or like, gotta write this offer, or gotta do whatever. But at the end of the day, that it does not matter as much when you're feeling fulfilled doing it. And there's nothing better than landing houses. It is like a weird high, or getting our houses sold. We do get like a rush from that. And it's not about the money, but the irony is we made more this year than we've ever made. So like, it's just, it all comes when it's meant to, when you're doing what you should be doing. Agree.
But
Like,
real estate is not easy. Like,
no, but for those people that are like discouraged, that are like, oh, this industry is not easy. Like, a lot of people fail at it, but like, it took us 8 months to sell our first home. We grinded out and did open houses and did all the work, and we kept a positive attitude. Like, we didn't make $1 for 8 months, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah. I mean, it's not like things are just handed to you in this. Like, it was very difficult. It's a very difficult industry to get into and start up doing. But if you have faith in yourself, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're consistent, like, it will come. And then once it comes, it just keeps coming, So I tell people like that are starting, I'm no guru. We haven't been in this industry for years, but I think we're a testament to the fact of like, put your mind to something, come up with a business plan, stick to it, keep putting the work in, and it'll pay off. And
play to your strengths and then get help for your weaknesses. Like,
agree.
we just balance each other, so we don't need help. This is it.
You even laugh at the same time. Same.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So talk about working on your strengths. You guys were professional bodybuilders. Hey, yo, right?
I mean, yeah, that was our past lives.
Past life.
Yeah, we both competed. I turned pro in 2010, I think. We competed for 10 years. So I've done 18 plus shows all through our 20s. We just spent every year competing. So now we just love, we still like our vino on Sunday nights and pizza. Like, we have a balance now. We don't compete anymore. But I think our biggest takeaway from that is the discipline and consistency that you have to have in that sport is unparalleled. I mean, you don't miss a meal, you don't miss a workout. And for us we didn't miss a show in 10 years. That's impressive. And there's bumps along the way of life. Like, you can't always, if you get sick or tired, whatever, but it's just, that instilled a lot of discipline in us, I think, that carries through 110% to all areas of our lives. Mm-hmm. So while that is not our shining glory moment anymore, we had it, and we did the shoots, and we did we had our fame in that arena for a while. We just take with it the lessons now. Obviously, we still work out. It's still part of our lives, but
the reason I ask is that COVID has impacted people a little differently. But one thing seems to be pretty across the board, which is there's been a lot of weight gain, and not just me. You're looking at me like, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But I don't mean just me. I mean like in general. So like, how what are some advice that you could give people that might help them live a little healthier. I have so many interesting questions about this that are interesting to me. Like, how long does a person who's a professional or like a national level or even regional bodybuilder, how many hours a day do you work out? When do you eat? What does that routine look like?
Well, it depends on what your goals are, right? So when you're getting ready for a competition, you're eating 6, 7 times a day. You're working out at the gym twice a day, every day, pretty much. And you eat, breathe, sleep. That is your life. I think for normal people, it's totally different than that. You have to it's really about finding what works for each person. But I will say 90% of any weight loss has to do with your diet. So you cannot out train a bad diet. So diet. And dieting doesn't mean eating bland grilled chicken with nothing on it and a piece of broccoli. Like, there's healthy ways, there's changes that you can make into your diet that you will see results, but it's also consistency. So the quick, I want to lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks, and then you go to the gym for 2 weeks and then you fall off and then you wonder why you didn't lose the weight or why you don't look any different. It literally takes years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taken us years to get our bodies to where they are now, which is consistent, and we've built muscle. And as a woman, like, it takes time and effort. But for the general population, our recommendation is consistency with a healthy diet, consistency with a workout plan. You don't need to be lifting heavy weights. It's about find something you love. We do right now, gym used to be our bread and butter. Now we spin, we take boxing classes, we do yoga, we do different things. We go for walks with our dogs outside. Like, get out, get active, but
and you don't have to be in there hours a day. Like, we don't work out for more than an hour a day.
no.
And probably 5 days a week.
Yeah.
4 to 5 times a week. But yeah, diet. Like, you can't eat crap and then think you're going to look some type of way. So,
because it's not just like it's obviously not just lifting weights, right? It's like you have to become an expert in lots of areas.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think from a layman's standpoint is joint therapy, right? Like, how do you keep, when you work out that much, how do you keep from having tendonitis and having your joint, like, there's a lot of different.
Get older.
Yeah, well, I was just today we're at the gym and I'm like, oh, my knee. I like pulled something in my knee. It definitely changes as you get older. In our 20s, you're just a machine. You're like a machine, and then you looking back, you're just young and still like things hurt now.
Vibrant.
Yeah. It's a little different, but you just got to work through it. And then when you're getting ready, regardless if you have an injury, unless it's substantial, you got to just work through it.
But
work around it.
Also, though, rest days are just as important as, I think people that are like, team no days off, like, go. That's horrendous. Like, your body needs rest. Like, I think sometimes even when people hit plateaus and they aren't accomplishing things, take a few days off and your body will recover and reset, and you'll actually get more progress after that. So it's not about just how hard can you go for as long as you can. You got to be smart about it too. You have to let your body catch up and recover.
Agree.
Another thing I think is super interesting is that when you go pro, when you get to the national level, you're starting to push out, and this could be in anything. It could be in bodybuilding. It could be in any sport. It could be in any field. You're pushing out to the very limits of what that person is capable of, right? And so, like, you've really seen the limits of different types of, what is that like when you know what I'm saying? Because there's a point where everybody can be disciplined, they can work hard, they can do that, but they still have this ceiling. And in order to go to that next level where you guys were at, you have to go beyond. There's only a certain amount of people that can physically achieve that when they lose the right amount or they lift the right amount, they don't look good. You know what I mean? There's like a whole thing there. What's it like to be on the level that is like a super elite level of bodybuilding, or, and does that translate, you think, to across the board, or is it unique to bodybuilding?
I think, and I agree with you, there's people that just can never get in the shape. I do believe that's, people can lose weight, but not always achieve a certain level of success in this sport. Did we know that I was going to turn pro? I mean, it was also 10 years in the making. I mean, I started competing at my first show. I was 104 pounds on stage. By the time I turned pro, I was 118 pounds on stage. So that's a substantial amount of muscle gain over the 10 years, and then work about shaping your physique the way they want it. Like, you're pretty much looking at yourself as like a piece of art, like, oh, I need to build my shoulder cap. Oh, my quad sweep's not big enough, or my glutes need to be whatever, you know? And I think it's pulling all that together with a look, some people can't help the shape of their bodies either. So there's just an appealing aesthetic for competing. And then there's not, it's not for everyone. Some people just don't have that build, you know? But I think it's also knowing when we reach that level. I mean, what came along with 10 years of competing is I had health issues after that. I'm on thyroid medication for the rest of my life. So it's not all glorious. It was pushing my body too much. I burned my adrenals out. So now I had to take a step back and be like, all right, I need to worry about the inside out, not just the outside in, you know? So now it's more about taking care of my health, because all those years of putting all that strain on my body took a toll on me in my 30s, you know? So now everything's normal, but you know, it's not so glamorous. It's not so healthy for extended periods of time. That level of determination though, and
like that book, Can't Hurt Me. I don't know if you ever read it. Did you ever read it?
No.
Oh, what's his name?
I'll put it on your description as a recommended though, if you think it'll,
Can't Hurt Me. It's about pushing yourself past it's really a mental threshold. It's not physical, it's mental. So it's like pushing yourself like past the limitations that you can even imagine. And it's a mental warfare game about what you're able to accomplish. And really that's what competing is. It's all mental. It's not physical, it's the mental that I think people can't get past. People don't succeed at getting to a show. If they say, I'm going to do it, and then they don't succeed 99% of the time, they mentally fail. It's not their body. It's not their body physically not being able to do what it needs to do. It's the mental side of not being able to cope with what is needed from you, you know, to be successful.
Which actually leverages into business, because there's a lot of agents that tap out before they even get where they need to go, because they're not seeing the results they want in the time frame. So it does filter into all areas of our lives, because once we're focused, we're like, we're going to be the best real estate agents. We're going to be successful in terms of what we find success, like how we define success. So we wrote all that out, and then we just tunnel vision ourselves till we get there. And
just like you did with bodybuilding.
Exactly. So that's definitely instilled in our DNA at this point, from having all those years of that. But you know what? It takes a certain person to be that way regardless. So there's people that succeed in bodybuilding. There's people that don't. And we're just hungry. We've always had a fire in us, I think, to just do whatever we need to. Like, we are just,
once we set our mind to something, then nothing's stopping us, you know, like
pretty relentless.
Yeah. There's nothing that's going to stop me and tell me I can't do it. I'll prove you wrong, and I'll prove myself wrong. And if I'm going to say commit to something, we commit. And here we are.
Okay. So we're going to play a game called the hot seat, where I'm going to ask tough questions that may or may not be related to things that you know. And you can choose to answer, or you can choose to be a quitter. Okay, all right, here we go. I just said that because I know there's no quitting in you guys.
There's no quitting.
I know that. That's why it's funny to me. Okay. All right, here we go. First question. I look at the old Mr. Olympias, like Arnold Schwarzenegger had a different kind of body than like the new Mr. Olympias, right? I feel like personally he was prettier, right? But that's not for everybody. Where do you guys stand, having been in the industry, having done some of that? What do you think?
I agree. I like the old look for men and women, because if you look back for the women also, it's gotten a little out of control with more is more. I think more is not more when it comes to all kinds of things in this industry, including muscle mass. And it's not about like how big can you get. That's what it's turned into, and it's unhealthy. And plus it's just, they're prettier physiques then. Arnold just had a more aesthetically.
He was pretty, right?
He was a pretty, yes, it was more like pretty. Ideal.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was more of an attainable, ideal look. So I vote for that.
Same. Arnold.
How much of the bodybuilding, like an Arnold, is just genetic, and how much of it is just kick-ass hard work?
I mean, I'd say a lot of it is for men is genetics. Yeah. So there's some dudes, I mean, you see it more in men than women. Like there's dudes that can train and eat till the cows come home and never achieve a level of muscle mass or density or just proportions that others have. Yeah. So you see the most successful ones are the ones that know that their DNA is solid, and then they run with it and take it to the next level. So unfortunately, men, sorry, it's definitely genetic.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Okay.
so we're 2 for 2 because I think that too, but I don't want to, I don't want to be weird or whatever. Okay. So the next one. So some celebrities, I'm always surprised by some celebrities that have passed away. And it always makes me feel old when I have people that are younger, like millennial buyers, who have no idea who some of these celebrities are. Which celebrity sort of that's no longer around is the biggest shock to you?
Hold that thought. I mean, what was his name? Fast and Furious. That was sad.
Oh, Paul Walker.
Oh,
Paul
Paul
Walker.
Walker. That one hurt. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there was some people recently. I
Or
know,
like in the music industry, some of the who's the one that overdosed?
Who? Oh, like Avicii.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know house music, but that's still that's like a millennial.
we love music, so
We are music buffs, so
Yeah.
yeah, if you're into house music, like, but Avicii, he was like in his 20s
yeah,
and he like overdosed. There's a
That's
couple.
sad.
It's sad. Yeah, life is fleeting. I don't have any other good answers for that.
Okay. So what do you think about today's music versus, have you ever had a moment where you feel like you're almost like, you're not
What
a boomers,
happened?
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel like old compared
We
to
feel-
the clients.
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
We were big. I don't know. 90s R&B and hip hop was like
our thing.
Bill
our
Biv
thing.
DeVoe.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's like 112. I mean,
New
there are
Edition.
favorite groups still.
Yeah,
Yeah, and now we'll put on like our Sirius, and it'll be like the hip hop stations. I'm like, what in the who listens to that? And then I'm like, we're old because I can't listen to it. Like,
no,
we can appreciate good music, but it's just taken a turn, I think, for the worst.
same.
There used to be like lyrics and it used to have meaning, and now it's just, I don't even know what it is anymore. It's atrocious. Yeah, it's atrocious.
What are your
And yes, it
ambitions
makes
for
me feel old.
2022, and how hard do you think it'll be to expand your team?
Well, this is our team. Always.
You're never going to expand beyond the two of you.
No, we may add.
I mean, never say never.
We hear a lot that we should have a team. You're
A
right.
psychic told us.
They told us we're gonna have a whole team.
Yeah,
I don't anticipate that for 2022.
no.
We're busy right now. I feel like we can handle a lot on our own. I think we'd raise our hand, and we have a transaction coordinator. Maybe it'll be an assistant before it'll be a team. I just think to muddy the property twins, which we created, I feel like we're just getting started in with that brand per se. Like,
Yep.
even though it's been kind of 2 years, people we hear all the time, like, oh, they know who we, at the end of the day, we set ourselves apart based on our genetics, but we ran with it. So it's like, it's not bodybuilding, but we did it with,
It does work.
it works in real estate for us as well. So I think, I can't anticipate that happening in 2022. But we're in a good position right now to handle a decent amount of work, just her and I. So we're going to run with that until we can't anymore. But we're the first to say, like, okay, this is outside. We're never going to stop ourselves from growing. So if it comes a time where we need to add, then we will. But we're just getting started.
I think that's really smart because one thing is very clear is that you guys have tremendous capacity. Like
Thank you, Erik.
you're working hard, I'm sure, but like it seems very obvious to me that you guys can do 10, 20 times the amount of work you're doing now, and it'll probably just feel normal. That's where you're headed, by the way.
Thank
your
you.
business is going to explode. It's very, very clear. Everybody that's watching this right now, I want to be on record as saying that these ladies here are going to be superstars.
Woo!
Like point blank, no question about it. You're going to have a hard time getting on their schedule within the next 18 months. I can almost guarantee it. And
Put it
so
down.
you definitely
Right.
want to get in there right now, because what I also think I understand about you guys is that an old client is a forever client,
Always.
right?
I mean, I know so many people, and we've picked up some clients from other realtors that they worked with where they're a churn and burn. We call it like the churn and
Yeah.
burn. Like, it's just pick them up. We don't care. They don't care. They just get the job done. Like, even if it's not in the client's best interest about what house they're recommending, I've heard it. We've heard some stories, and that is not our business model.
Our people stay our people. It's just how we operate in life. Like, once you're our people and you're our clients, most of them become like family. A lot of them anyway, not all, but we treat people that way once you're under our wing, and it is an intimate process if you allow it to be, because you get really close with these people because it's a big deal. So they feel like family to us after, and they stay that way all the way through. So
And that means that's how we do our business. Like,
this is how we operate. Not everyone chooses to do that. That's fine, but we know our business model, and that is a part of it. So you are correct. They stay in our circle for sure.
It's very obvious. But you're I have couple more questions real quick. You rescue pit bulls, right? Those are your dogs of choice, right? Tell me why pit bulls. What do people not get about pit bulls, and you know, what do you love about them?
I mean, we could be here all day.
we can do a whole nother podcast on pitties.
Yeah, I think they've been we've always had pitties. I can't even remember not having them. To us, I mean, we're impartial, but I mean, they're the best dogs. They just are. They're loyal. They're fierce. They just have a bad stigma based on people.
Bite a few faces off, you tend to get a reputation.
Yeah, but you know what? The Chihuahua down the street does worse aggression, and I've heard of golden retrievers. So no offense to all you that have animals. At the end of the day, it's how they're raised.
It's
how they're raised and like their environment they grow up in. So
you intentionally picked the two most sort of docile-ish weak dogs to compare them to.
Listen, I have stories. I got stories.
We do.
You know, we're big in that. That's our free time. That's our giving back. We spend a lot of time at the shelter. We work with Alone No More Dog Rescue very closely. She pulls E-listed, so dogs that are about to be euthanized from county. And then we work with them until we get them adopted out. So pitties are just our passion. I don't know how else to say it. We're biased because we think they're the best, but we've just always had a thing for them. So we keep rescuing. And my girl now, the one that was just over here, she's a little problem child. Like, I got her from the shelter. She has her quirks, but you know what I tell people? What person doesn't have their quirks? You know, people want this perfect dog when they adopt, and ultimately they love you no matter what. But if you got to work with them on some things, then you work with them. Like, they become family to us. So they're our kids and
Our fur children.
our fur children. So we will advocate till forever for pitties. Yeah.
In the time you've been in real estate, have you had like a bad story, a bad instance? Has there been ever a thing where you were just like, I can't even believe this is happening?
I mean, I feel like that happens every day. Yeah. I think you just get more used to, like, I think in the beginning, every little thing, because we're very type A, you learn quick, like, you cannot control things that go on in these transactions. You can't control the people. There's a lot of moving parts. You can't control the homes. You can't control a lot of things, right? So we do our best. I'm trying to think, like,
I mean, we've had a client back out because the ceiling was 1 foot shorter in the house than what they wanted. Yeah. I was like, that's interesting.
we paid for like a pool pump to be fixed because we could not. It was just we could not.
We saved some deals by throwing some of our own money out there just to salvage it. I
Yeah.
mean, people are particular about certain things and they don't want to negotiate. So
And I think it's very important that we learned the hard way. Maybe not the hard way, but you know, it's important to say, what are your deal breakers? And then make sure that we don't hit any of those when we're in the middle of a transaction, because some things pop up and you're like, whoops. Like, I mean, we're not perfect. We're human. Things happen. But I mean,
I don't think anything, knock on wood, no, none that we've salvaged or, you know, nothing that's gone super left.
no.
I mean, there's some interesting personalities in this business, but not our clients. They're great.
Or like we did, I mean, going through a whole transaction and not speaking on the phone with the other agent.
That wasn't interesting.
I mean, to me,
I won't give names,
that's
but
almost worse than like, that's worse to us than like anything that could happen, because we're relationship builders, and it all the way, we want to build a relationship with the other agent. I mean, that's the whole point of this. So if you don't answer your phone, that's bizarre.
yeah,
behavior.
start to finish, never
had a conversation.
So I would send her voice notes because she wouldn't answer. And I'd be like, it would be a lot easier if we just discussed this really quickly.
She's probably scared.
And she'd text me back, yeah, maybe. I mean, listen, knock on wood.
Okay. So
Never
what's the
dull
best
moment.
way for people to reach out and maybe work with you, talk with you about what's going on here if they're out of state or even in state? What's the best way for people to reach out and contact you?
I mean, social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, our cell phone numbers are plastered around. the World Wide Web because we are available 24/7. So whether it's our personal pages or our business pages, we are equal opportunity. We love to work with everyone. We're here to help. So reach on out.
You guys have a mad energy, mad teamwork. It's so clear. You're never going to let anybody down. And I'll tell you what, for those of you that are watching, in this market right now, you need warriors. It's going to get worse, right? Like we needed warriors back when you couldn't get your offer accepted. It's going to get worse. And I just think you should definitely call the Property Twins. You guys are so great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed talking with you. You get a link in the description for all their stuff below, and as well as the I'm gonna put the adoption dog.
Yeah,
adoption
that's
thing
perfect.
too. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Erik, thank you so much.
Drop it the comment, like it, and subscribe. Blah blah blah. Thee knowest thy drilleth.